Welcome to this week's 5 Minutes of Revelation, and today in those 5 minutes I want to encourage you with a great verse from 2 Corinthians 7, and that's verse 4, because here it says, "In all our troubles my joy knows no bound." And see, when you're in troubled times, when you are facing tough situation, then it is not time to get sad, it is not time to get depressed, and it's not time to crawl up and hide away and wait for better times. Because that's our natural response. We all know that. When tough times come, we tend to just draw back, we tend to get depressed, we tend to get sad, we tend to crawl up and try to hide away, think of the better times, think of how times might have been, and just hope for better times to come around. But that's not how God wants you to live. See, because times of trouble, times of war, times of fighting are times where there's always a victor and always a loser. Times of war are times of victory, because in God, you are always the winner. So when those times of war come, you should always be the one that comes out on top. You should always be the one that uses these afflictions, that uses this trouble, that uses whatever is coming against him to come out on top, to come out the victor and not come out the loser. You should be the one that's always coming out victorious out of everything that's coming against you every day. But you won't be that victorious one by crawling back, by getting depressed, by wishing better times would come around. Because if you don't do anything, better times simply won't come around. Because fights keep coming from all different sides. You need to learn to stand your ground. You need to learn to fight and be the winner, because the fight is already won. All you need to do is take that step of faith and become the victor. Just think of David and Goliath. In this story you will read that for 40 days Goliath comes out every day and he insults the Israelites. He calls them names, he calls them whatever he can think of, and he gets them depressed, he gets them in fear, and for 40 days those people just sit there being scared, being afraid, not daring to step out and take their victory. They are in trouble, they are in times of war, and they did exactly what you and I do too many times. But then when you see David come around and God is in David, God is with David, and that's exactly the situation that you're in today, like David, only that you have an even better covenant right now. So David comes around, and the first time he hears this trouble, the first time he hears this affliction, he says, well, who is this uncircumcised Philistine? Who is this guy? What is this trouble? What is this war facing me? He doesn't have a covenant with God. I am the one that has God on his side, so I can beat him. Why are you all afraid? Why are you all depressed? Why have you been sitting here for 40 days not doing anything about him? You have God on your side, so go and take your victory. Well, this is exactly what David does. When the trouble comes, when the war comes, he doesn't draw back. He doesn't get scared. No, he gets full of joy. He gets encouraged, and he sees his opportunity to get out on top. This is what David sees here. When trouble comes, when the war comes, the man of God, and you should be that man and that woman of God, he sees an opportunity to get out on top, to start living a better life, to be the victorious one, to be the victor. And that's exactly what David does. He runs towards his fight. He runs towards Goliath, and without an effort, he kills him right away, without an effort, because the victory has already been won by God. The victory is already yours. All you need to do is take that step of faith. Stay in joy. Choose to stay in joy and choose to run towards the fight. Take the fight and beat whatever affliction, whatever war is coming against you, instead of crawling back, being afraid and waiting for better times to come around. Can you see how important that is? In 2 Corinthians 6 verse 14 it says, "Do not be equally yoked with unbelievers." So don't put yourself under the yoke that unbelievers are under. That means unbelievers, they put the yoke of fear on them. They put the yoke of depression on them. They put this yoke on them that they cannot get up again and cannot run towards their fight. Well, God says, don't be the one that's yoked with the unbelievers. Don't put this yoke of fear and don't put this yoke of depression on you. Get free from it. When you see the trouble come, when you see the fight come, know that God is on your side and that victory is already yours, and then run towards your fight. Run towards your fight, because you will be the one that comes out victorious, and you will be the one that will step into those better times, right here and right now, and start living them instead of drawing back, getting afraid, hiding under a rock, and waiting for better times that will never come around. And that's what God told me to encourage you with today, to get up and know that God has already won your fight. Use those times of war, use those times of trouble, use those times of affliction to get out on top, to be the victorious one, because God has called you to be that, and He's given you everything you need to be the victor. Take that with you. Be glad and run towards your fight. Take that with you. Be blessed by that. Don't forget to read your chapter a day, and I'll see you again next time.